It's Kristen Hawkins here for your ProLife Gen news. I think it's June 2nd. I don't know, it's Friday, it's 10 o'clock. I'm still working. I'm getting ready to finish up my work day, but wanted to come live to share some of the news that caught my eye today. Going to start out with some big news we just announced. So in this May, our team of Students for Life put out into the field for pro-life activists a pulse poll as to who they would vote for if the GOP presidential primary was held right now. And the results are in, and they are very clear. Ron DeSantis, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, has won our May 2023 ProLife Pulse poll. We're going to be doing these polls every month. So I imagine some of the months there might be different winners. But I think this is a really interesting start. Let me show you some of the results. Donald Trump had 35%, Ron DeSantis nearly 42%, and Mike Pence came in third place. As you all know, Mike Pence hasn't actually even officially announced he's running yet. He's doing that next week in Iowa. I hope you'll be there and join him for that. So I'm really interested. I'm sorry. Mike Pence did not come in third place. Tim Scott came in third place. Mike Pence came in fourth place. And we actually went through like all the different candidates. You can see the full results on Students for Life Action social media. Very interesting results. I think Mr. Donald Trump might want to look at these results. Clearly, the reflection as to some of the things that we've been hearing from the former president, who was the most pro-life president in our lifetime. Yet recently, he's been kind of listening to some swampy consultants and saying not so great things about the pro-life movement that we clearly don't appreciate because he didn't win the poll. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is Planned Parenthood. We all know Planned Parenthood is clearly deranged. I mean, they literally kill babies for a living. They openly brag about, right? They kill about 80,000 babies every single year in America. More than 1,000 babies a day are killed by Planned Parenthood. So they're clearly not right. But there was a story that most people, even pro-choice people, should be outraged. Come out of Washington State. I'm going to show it to you right now. So an elementary school used Planned Parenthood sex ed materials. An elementary school. And these were very controversial materials. I couldn't even do this live stream when my kids were awake because I didn't want them to hear me talking about this. It is deranged. Here's one of the materials. It's crazy. This is like their gender wheel up here. If you can see it, it talks about the different pronouns. This is interesting. It says supplies that can be used during puberty. Right there, you'll see puberty blockers. They literally are like making this mainstream. I pulled up the Fox News article about this. It's crazy. It actually said we don't even have the pictures of the worst things. So we saw the gender wheel. There's actually another diagram of differently shaped genitalia. Some of the pictures in that diagram, which we don't even have pictures of, I don't know if Fox didn't publish it because it was so grotesque. Mind you, this was given to elementary school students. But some of this diagram of different genitalia had pubic hair shaved to appear like a cartoon cat, while other parts of the diagram had pubic hair shaved like a heart. Really, this is scary. The one parent actually called local radio in Washington State and said, quote, the anatomical pictures seem to be playful or dismissive of the fact that an extremely small subset of the population are intersex or transgender, but misrepresent them as a considerable chunk of the population. Either or here nor there, why are kids being made to question their bodies and what naturally occurs during puberty, end quote. It's not great. If you need a reminder of why I don't send my kids to public school, this is a pretty good one. I mean, I'm all for teaching kids about their bodies, about biology, because clearly I see students all the time on college campuses who don't know anything about when human life begins or about their menstrual cycle. They don't even understand basic facts when it comes to pregnancy. But this is not the solution. And by the way, why would you even trust Planned Parenthood to go into your public schools or to present materials to your kids about safe sex or, delaying sex until they're in a committed relationship. That's crazy. That would be like asking Philip Morris from the tobacco lobby to go into schools and tell kids not to smoke cigarettes. Yeah, they may do it, but do they really care? Because at the end of the day, they want kids smoking more cigarettes. Same thing with Planned Parenthood. At the end of the day, they want kids making risky sexual decisions, so they come to Planned Parenthood for STD tests. Planned Parenthood only treats 18% of STDs they diagnose, but having kids coming back in, thinking they can get treatment, having kids come in for wrong sex hormone treatment, having kids come in for birth control, contraceptive birth control, or abortifacient birth control. This isn't good. Like, why would you even trust them? You don't even have to be pro-life with me to agree with me. Like, there's something wrong with that sales pitch, right? Okay, so I want to talk about this tweet thread that was kind of made viral. So I'm going to read it to you. At 19, I wasn't going to have a baby, but the next time I got pregnant, this woman basically had a baby, but then got pregnant again. So she said, by the next time I got pregnant in 31, I was ready, and I took those protesters' money for the entire pregnancy and let them think they saved me from abortion and damnation. I let them pay for everything, my rent, my moving expenses, and my baby gear. This was my way of fighting back against pro-lifers. I felt that I could use the resources for a wanted pregnancy. It would stop them from being able to deter someone else who really didn't need a child, rearranging their life or keeping their property. This tweet thread went like crazy viral. I'm not entirely sure what's going on in this woman's brain. So she got pregnant at 19. It sounds like she decided to keep her child, not kill her child. Or maybe she had an abortion. I'm not sure. But then she said she got pregnant at 34. She was ready to have a child at that point and decided not to kill her child. But as a way of getting back at pro-lifers who pray and support women from Planned Parenthoods and abortion facilities, who, by the way, do not yell at them, she took their money and made them believe that she was going to have an abortion, so she would prevent them from spending their money on someone else, giving their money to someone else, another woman who they could have truly helped and who was in need. And this woman, like, thinks she's some sort of hero for doing this, but really she's just kind of a bad person. I mean, I'm glad that your child is born. I'm glad you didn't choose abortion, but you didn't want another woman who needed the material support to get the support. You decided to take it away from them too. Like, what do? Did you sign up for like food stamps and welfare support even though you don't need it too? I mean, that's basically the attitude you just said. It was like, I'm going to take someone else's food stamps even though I don't need them. Yeah, so that's like loser of the day. Okay, so last big story, and then wrap up, finish my glass of wine and go to bed. I'm going to go to the ladies of The View. So The View has been on like this like tear this week. I mean, I guess since their initial launch, they've been on a tear against conservatives, but they really hate conservative women. This is fascinating to me, how women on the left, they can't understand why conservative women are conservative women. They view us as, traitors. You see, I'll see my task list on my hand. They view us as traitors. It really bugs them, right? And they're always trying to figure out why. There was a whole book written. The former president of NARAL Pro-Choice wrote a book a few years ago, and it was like this whole book. And I would have gladly told her anything she wanted to know if she had like called me and asked me why I'm anti-abortion. But instead of like actually interviewing the people she was talking about, she just like made all these wild assertions in her book, Elise Hogue, that the reason why the pro-life movement is being led by all women is because we're not really leaders, and we don't really do the work. There's a bunch of men on our boards, and we're just kind of like willing puppets for them to pull the strings. Like her whole book was predicated on that fact. So it really bothers the left that there are pro-life, pro-family, conservative women. So, women of The View are no different. So earlier this week, Sunny, one of the hosts on The View, which, by the way, has like the least sunny disposition ever, so it's ironic, that's her name, she actually talked about GOP white women as tools of our husbands, that they they fall in line. The quote was, "White women want to protect the patriarchy here. They fall in line with what their husbands are doing." I read that from my husband, and he like busted out laughing. It's unbelievable that they actually think that, white pro-life women, we really are just tools of our husband, and we want to promote the patriarchy. I respect and listen to my husband, just like how I would hope that he would respect and listen to me in our partnership. But this is crazy. And it's certainly not reflective of relationships that I know of young conservative women and their husbands who have an equal partnership. So yeah, this is Sunny's big thing. But then the next day, so this would have been yesterday, I saw this on social media. I don't have TV, but I saw it come on social media. I want to play for you this clip because I thought it was interesting. Because, like I said, the women on the view are just on a tear.
The question is, what does the right think that they're going to achieve by this kind of mongering?
To your question, I think they're using it as a political cudgel.
Yeah.
So because you vilify one group of people, it unifies all these other people.
Yeah.
Let me point out that in Uganda, for example, there are countries all over the world that are attacking gay people. This is the scapegoat du jour right now. In Russia, you're imprisoned if you're gay. In Uganda, they just posed a very stringent law, life imprisonment or execution if you are considered to be homosexual. 64 countries, half of them are in Africa, criminalize homosexuality. The other half are all over the place. I mean, is that what we want our country to be, like Uganda? I mean, come on.
Well,
or Russia?
No. And actually, no one, Joy, also ironic name here, the least joyful person ever. You have Sunny and Joy. This doesn't make any sense. And Whoopi. What the heck is going on? You have Whoopi, Sunny, Joy. I don't know what the other ones. They're like the least happy people ever. Yeah, no one. That's terrible, that law that was just handed down in Uganda. And I don't hear any conservative calling for life imprisonment or death penalty. I don't even believe in the death penalty for people who are, scourges on this earth and murderers and rapists. I don't even believe they should see the death penalty. So no one's calling for that at all. I think all we're simply doing, but see, this is fear mongering from the left. A lot of us parents, are very concerned about what our children are getting in school by Planned Parenthood, what they're being taught, what they're seeing online, what they're seeing when they go into Target, and how the LGBTQ lobby is directly targeting our young people and telling them that a practical tool that they have at their disposal when they hit puberty is a puberty blocker. But failing to mention that puberty blocker can castrate them for the rest of their lives and dramatically change their lives, when in fact their brains aren't even fully formed and they're not actually capable of making these serious adult decisions yet. So no one's going after gay people. No one's even going after transgender people. What we're trying to protect, Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny, is the innocence of our children. And we're trying to protect them from the left that wants to use them in a war against all of America. If you all look back at the 1960s and what some folks have written about the 1960s and even the founding of NARAL Pro-Choice America, it was very clear at the beginning of the abortion movement that the family and the church actually had to be attacked. Dr. Bernard Nathanson, who later in life became Christian, then later became pro-life after founding NARAL Pro-Choice America, National Association of Repeal Abortion Laws, and was an actual abortionist in New York State. One of the things Dr. Bernard Nathanson talked about was they were very clear in the 60s that if they were going to change culture in America, that they had to attack the Catholic Church and they had to strike down family relationships. That's how they were going to usher in this abortion culture. And that's exactly what we're seeing now with the left when it comes to pushing transgenderism on our children and this epidemic of children who, it's, by the way, statistically impossible that so many of them are, saying that they're trans or LGBTQ. It's not even possible. So, yeah, unhappy women of the View, take a chill pill. And by the way, I would be more than happy to come to the View and joyfully present to you the facts and show you why so many young pro-life young women are pro-life and are conservative. And it's certainly not because we want to retain or keep the patriarchy. One more thing before I go, and I'll see you for the weekend. I want to encourage you to sign up now for National Celebrate Life Day. This has been a dream of mine since the fall of Roe. We will be at the Lincoln Memorial on the day of the Dobbs anniversary, the day Roe versus Wade was thrown into the ash heap of history. It's Saturday, June 24th. It's a free rally. All you have to do is sign up because you need a little lanyard for security to get through. Go to nationalcelebratelifeday.com.org. Michael Knowles, Dr. Alveda King, Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Finch will be there, Lila Rose, Sean Carney, myself. I would love to see you there. There's going to be so many leaders in the pro-life movement there, truly for a unifying event, talking about not only celebrating the victory, this historic victory of the fall of Roe versus Wade, something, by the way, most people said wasn't possible, but we're also going to be talking about what's next and how we must demand 14th Amendment protections for all, human rights for all. And then later that night, we're having a gala. It's not a fundraising gala. Yes, you have to buy a ticket, but it doesn't go to any organization. By the way, we're losing money on this effort, but we're having this really cool celebratory gala where we're going to be honoring the past leaders of the pro-life movement, most of them who have passed on from this world. So mentors like Jack Wilkie and Phyllis Schlafly, and we're going to be honoring them and their commitment to the pro-life movement, who really got us to this point of living now in a post-Roe era, of this amazing opportunity we now have to work state by state, campus by campus, to abolish abortion, to make abortion unthinkable and unavailable in our lifetime. So I really hope you sign up to join us Saturday, June 24th, Washington, D.C., at the Lincoln Memorial. It's going to be epic. It's nationalcelebratelifeday.com.org. Make sure you're RSVP now for this, guys. I'm going to go. It's the weekend. I have so much work still to do, but I hope you enjoy the weekend with your family and this great weekend